Good afternoon and welcome to another kerfuffle webinar. Heather from Spectre, how the devil are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Simon. How are you?
Yeah, you good? You all moved into your new home? You got a lovely new plant. You didn't have that last time we talked with you. So you're gradually filling the place out. That's lovely.
Cheers. Yeah, no, it's good to be back up north.
Good. Yeah, just so that Rishi Sunak can victimise us all, a little bit more. Sorry, didn't mean to get political. I was going to wish you congratulations for, which I still will do, of course. Congratulations on winning, being placed in the top 40 innovations at EA Masters recently. That was for the traditional Spectre product, or indeed an evolution of that, which was for the lettings side of the business, lettings industry there. But actually, that's probably underplayed a little bit, because actually, well, first of all, you got in the top 10 actually for 2 times, which was one of the content channels there, wasn't it? And then more importantly, and probably quite excitingly for everybody, and I know for yourself, it was obviously the unveiling as well for your big CRM project, the suitably named Street. Let's deal with that first of all. Obviously, that created a lot of excitement and interest there. Has that been borne out in the time since EA Masters?
Yeah, it has. We've been quite surprised actually by how many agents have been in touch and registered for the launch event, which is fantastic. I mean, this has been a long time in the making for us. It's over 3 years now, so to finally be able to talk about it is actually pretty refreshing. But yeah, no, I think we've hit a very lucky window, to be honest, with the launch of Street. Obviously, we didn't want to be launching in a pandemic when we were all on lockdown, where we were going to do a virtual event. We never envisaged launching like that. But, it's actually worked out quite well. And I think it's good timing, and that a lot of agents know, I think they know the technology that they want, but they can't have. So although changing CRMs is often seen as a huge, transformational type change management event, it feels like a lot of agents are ready and waiting for it at the moment. So I think we've been quite fortunate with the timing of it. But yeah, it's gone down really well. Everybody's loved the launch video, which is good. And yes, I actually cannot wait to show what we've built now.
Well, more important, how are the first clients coming? I know you obviously want to. I think first, more than anything, I can say, you probably can't, is that you are taking it incredibly slowly because you want everything to just be just right, don't you? You don't want to overset expectations and everything else there. Even though you've spent 3 years, and look, I've seen it; it looks absolutely fantastic. You're very aware that it is, it is new and everything else, and there are going to be things that are missed if people go into this without having their eyes open, essentially.
Yeah, no, well, we've been very fortunate in that we've done this before quite a few times now. We've had Spectre sales, we've had Spectre lettings, we've got Hello Again. And with all of our products, we're very, very careful to try to, under promise and over deliver, because it's very easy in tech to say, this is coming. And then people get really excited, and then you inevitably say, oh, actually, sorry, it's going to be a few more months. And, we just didn't want to do that. And I think this industry in particular is tired of getting that message. So yeah, we've had it in private beta for months now. So it's in agents, it's live, it's being tested to death. We've got quite a nice number of clients on it, so that if anything does arise, any functionality that, we've overlooked, we can just jump on it. We've got dev time there ready, waiting for this, and can just move very quickly. And yeah, so I think we've waited long enough. We've tested it long enough. We know it works, and most importantly, we're getting amazing feedback from the agents that are on it. And I know a few of them, and from consumers as well. So their clients are giving us good feedback, which is.
That's all often the overlooked one, isn't it? We spend so long as suppliers talking about obviously the benefits immediately to the agent, and actually we forget that so often what's more important is what that does for their own clients, and that's actually a much more powerful testimonial, isn't it? Really, is to hear from the people who actually give them business. If they're saying, well, that's fantastic, XYZ bit of functionality or whatever else you had really worked for me and set you aside from other estate agents.
Exactly. I think, we've very much approached Street with those two hats on. So one is, what can we do for agents who are obviously our clients and that we believe passionately, can be helped and made more efficient with the right technology. but also what can we do for the consumer? How can we, via the tech that we've created, provide the consumer with the experience that they want, or I don't even say want, they expect in 2020. There's a very large growing demographic that expect a certain amount of tech, certain amount of visibility, certain amount of information accessible to them at all times that at the moment, well, not for long, but they can't have with their agent. So we have very much, I mean, there's absolutely loads to Street. There's a reason why it's taken 3 years to build, but that is one aspect of it that's particularly, I don't know, warming when we hear the good feedback from their clients, because ultimately that's the most important thing, isn't it?
Well, you said you're quite right. I know I'm lucky to know a few of those clients, and they've been really, really complimentary. You know, and as one of the first clients, you would ordinarily expect there actually to be some things there, and I just haven't heard that that stuff there. So not to raise expectation levels again there, which you're trying to downplay, but all I'm saying is it's looking good. And I think that one of the key things is you've said there, I couldn't, what you showed me, I couldn't have helped but get that out after year one. I'd have been too excited. It would have been bug laden and everything else. So holding that back until you've got something really, really compelling to go with is great. Secondly, you've absolutely understood, I think, that people, not just estate agents, but people in the wider world, they're sick of fake launches, aren't they? Or false launches, where you announce something and then what, you can't have it for, exactly. A few things. And what you do
every day in the press, there's some new game-changing technology, and it's so frustrating when you think you've actually done it, but we're saying do not use that word because people are sick of it and they just don't resonate with it anymore. And this is coming and it's going to be launched, and then it's like, oh, actually we're pushing it back, or it's okay, we've gone, but it breaks. People can fall out of love with things very quickly, and we're very, very cognizant of that. So hence taking our time for so long.
Yeah, the attention span's there, isn't it? And then it can very easily get distracted, and it's harder to win it back a second time. But what you've done there as well is, I know you've there can't be many developers in Manchester that haven't heard of you recently, because you've been recruiting at a rate of knots to make sure that, of course, not only does Street get the attention, but you don't want it to slow down all your other key areas of the business, do you? So
no, we've grown our team by a third during the pandemic, which has all been developers and one customer success person. So I am on a few more podcasts next week around tech and the Manchester scene as well. So
there are other podcasts and webinars. That honestly, let me down lightly, Jesus.
No, it's attracting the best talent. I mean, it's so important. That's our business. We have a rule that we only employ senior, experienced developers, and we have them in house. We don't outsource the tech. We don't get junior developers. What we're building is complex, and this industry is complex, despite what the consumer may think. It is a very complex industry. So you need to know a deep understanding of the industry and a deep understanding of technology and addresses. So we have an entirely separate team for the data science stuff. So
you've got that fantastic thing. I always said I just believe the absolute holy grail of systems is to have the Spectre style, whole of market data overlaid and being able to integrate with a CRM system is tantalizingly exciting for an agent who obviously, first of all, they want their tech suppliers to work together anyway, but secondly, those two are made for each other, aren't they? They're just perfect fellows.
They go hand in hand, and you look at other industries and other billion-dollar CRM companies, and that's exactly what they do. You look at HubSpot; they've got sales and they've got marketing. We just need to catch up, and that's what we've strived to do.
Good. Well, hopefully that's good. Before we just bounce off that, Christian's just jumped in with a quick. He's just looking forward to the launch. Looks great from the teaser videos. That's what teaser videos are there for, Christian. Does Street have any integrations, or can we integrate our services into it?
That's a really good question. So one of the, obviously, from our point of view as Spectre, we started Spectre as a tool that we thought we would love to integrate with CRMs. That was 5 years ago. So naturally, when we set out to build Street, we built it from the latest technology with the foundation of having an open API to do exactly this. So yes, it does already have integrations, and yes, as long as we've written all our API documentation, it is open. Anybody can integrate if they want to.
Perfect. There you are, Christian. Perfect answer on the front. No hint of a politician's answer there. That's brilliant. But what we're doing today anyway, Heather, apart from obviously just shouting about the excitement of the street, is this obviously was about the idea and innovation that was recognised at EA Masters, and it was a predominantly a letting solution. Do you want to just give an overview of what this innovation was about and why it was so relevant for so many agents?
Yeah, so we started off 5 years ago with Spectre sales, and quite rightly we got feedback, pretty early on, why can't you do this for lettings? So we set out to do it. It's slightly more complex with lettings because the data is a little bit trickier. You need to be a little bit more sophisticated, but we got there over the course of a few years. And basically what we've built is the ability for Spectre to identify properties that are both currently being advertised to let in an area with the full address, and properties that are currently let. So like a huge database of properties that are currently let in your area, with as many details as we can possibly give you about every single one of those properties. So when it was last sold, how much for, who's listed it now and previous listings, and how much was it advertised for, when do we think the tenancy start date was, all of this sort of stuff. So the idea is we can bring an element of sophistication and automation to lettings prospecting, or prospecting for landlords, which up until now, you just couldn't do. Well, you could do, but it was extremely manual and time consuming. And because of that, I think it's fair to say when we ask agents, what do you do to, actively prospect for landlords? The answer is often, well, we don't. Our portfolio grows organically, or maybe our portfolio doesn't grow organically, but we don't actively target landlords.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really interesting point, because if your portfolio is growing organically, you're doing all the hard work anyway, because you're obviously providing a decent service that it's growing organically. So go out there and tell other landlords that aren't with you that you're doing a good, you're offering a good service. You clearly are. But obviously before now, doing that was very, very difficult. So what we do is we get all of that data in one place, and then we've built some quite cool features to make it much easier for you to reach those landlords at the right time, with the right message and to the right people as well. So let me explain that a little bit. So whilst we have the addresses of the properties to let or let, the next step for a lot of agents is, right, okay, well, I've got a ton of data myself. How can I cross-reference my data with your data to attach landlord details where we have them? So one aspect that we've built is the ability to upload your own landlord data. Spectre will cross-match everything that we have with everything that you have, and where you have the landlord's name and address, whether it's a previous listing or maybe it's something that you lost, it will attach it to the properties in your Spectre database. So that's method one. And then the second method is we have a direct integration with the land registry, which is actually cheaper than going to the land registry directly yourself. So if you want to buy the landlord details or title deeds for any particular property, it's literally one click of a button and that populates. So what that does is enable you to send letters, very targeted letters, to properties that are currently on the market, and then also to landlords where their tenancies are just approaching renewal. So it might be 6 months, a year, 2 years. So you're reaching landlords with your very specific targeted message at the right time, saying the right thing. And then on top of that, the latest two innovations that people, obviously our clients get particularly excited about and particularly good results from, are two things. One is investment properties. So we identify for our clients within Spectre those properties that we know have been bought, sold, and then let out within 6 months, because they are significantly more likely, I think it's around 60%, don't quote me on that, more likely to be owned by a portfolio landlord, or you're more likely to, if you purchase a title deed, get a different name and address for that investment property than a random property. And the combination of all of these features feeds into our other feature, which is portfolio landlords, where because you've got all this data in your system, and because you're attaching landlord data via your own data or via land registry, the system will then identify for you, are there landlords who own multiple properties in your area? And if the answer is yes, then frankly, you should be going to town. You've got the list in front of you, you know who they are, you know the contact details, and what you do at that point is you can either send Spectre letters or send them a hamper. It's completely up to you, but they're the oldest, aren't they? And that's the biggest problem that I think we've solved with this, is knowing who to go after, how and when. And that takes 2 minutes a day.
And it really needed that sniper shot, doesn't it, to deliver on it. The kind of broad approach just doesn't work if in the same way like this can, and that's why this element for prospecting has been such a difficult area. Why again it is a holy grail to get the lettings prospecting working in as a process.
Definitely. Well, I think that's why I think a lot of agents, if they're honest, don't do that much of it. But actually, right now, I don't think there is a better time to be prospecting for landlords, because I think landlords are rightly slightly nervous about the current situation. Our tenants going to be able to pay their rent. There's a ton of legislation. I can't remember how many points of legislation it is now, but a lot. Which I think if many of these landlords realised how much legislation you actually have to be aware of and adhere to, there's no way they'd be doing it themselves. You would want somebody who knows what they're talking about. So I think there's a huge opportunity at the moment for agents to project that expertise to these landlords, and just say, we're a safe pair of hands here. Come to us and we can look after your investments.
Yeah, perfect. So you've obviously you've had a bit of a busy year. You're going to have a quiet 2021, or are you more things on the agenda?
Very much doubt it. No, we've got some big plans for Spectre, big plans for Hello Again, and obviously Street is pretty huge as well. So
sounds like
we've got a wait list until Q2 2021 on Street already. So
wow.
It's ours to mess it up at this point.
Well, let's increase your hassle factor there. I encourage everybody, obviously, to drop Heather a line if you haven't had a demo yet. You do need to do it. It's I certainly think it's the next big thing as well. So, well, look, make sure you keep us up to date here at Kerfuffle with any of those new enhancements. And once more, congratulations on the win the other day, and all the best with Street.
Cheers, Simon. Thanks.
Have a good weekend. Bye bye.